wish this castle had never come to me.
So do all who live to see such times, Frosmo Spaggy. But ours is not to decide which walls stand and which walls fall. Ours is to decide what to do with the cards that are given to us.
It's a bright, sunny day at the castle, folks. The garderobes are spick and span. The larders are packed with medieval meats. And the hinterlands beyond the castle walls are teeming with wildlife. Cast your eyes to the south, and you'll see a goblin rockhound collecting shiny bits of rocks from the picturesque mountain range. To the east, an orc walks among the trees of a beautiful forest, probably looking for birds. And to the north, a troll takes a very public and much needed bath. We do love bathing trolls around here. That's why I brought my troll peeping binoculars. We are having a prune dumpling stew at the feast tonight. Hope you can make it. What have we here? A prune dumpling lover, perhaps? Come on, men! There's plenty for everyone! It's Castle Panic, folks, the classic game of defending your medieval mansion against teeming hordes of loathsome trolls, goblins, and orcs until either said ne'er-do-wells bulldoze your castle or you successfully bulldoze them first. It's really fun. This is a good board game, but you don't need to own all the good board games. As the great kid from Pokemon once said, only catch as many Pokemon as you can financially and emotionally support. And only if catching these Pokemon does not prevent you from cultivating healthy relationships. Playing Castle Panic is just like finding a crab in Monterey Bay. It's very easy to do, but once you've got it, there's no telling what's going to happen. To set up the game, you'll place your towers in a ring around the middle with walls surrounding them. Then you'll take 3 goblins, 2 orcs, and 1 troll, and arrange them so that there is 1 monster within each slice of this multicolored pie you see on the board. Then players each draw a number of cards based on the number of players that happen to be in the game. I believe you'll be drawing 6 cards for 2 players, 5 cards for 3 to 5, and 4 cards for 6 players. Once everyone's drawn their cards, you are ready to begin. On your turn, you'll look at your cards, you'll play any number of them, and then you'll add more monsters to the board. The cards will allow you to do a number of things. Most of the time, you'll be playing cards to hit monsters. In order to hit a monster, you'll just look at where it is on the board. If a monster is in the red archer ring, then you'll need to play a red archer card to hit it. When you hit the monster, you'll rotate it to show that it's lost a life. When a monster reaches 0, it is removed from the board and placed in the game box, never to be seen again. When you've finished playing, you'll pass to the player on your left. But before you do that, you'll just take all the monsters on the board and move them 1 ring closer to the castle, and then you have to add more monsters to the board. And to do that, you'll draw 2 of these tiles. And then you'll roll this very fancy, excellent die to determine where on the board these monsters are going to begin. They are always placed in the forest. You will continue going around the table, adding monsters and destroying monsters until all of the tiles in this pile have been used, or until all of the towers on the board have been destroyed. How does a monster destroy a building? When they get into the swordsman ring and they need to move forward again, instead they will cast themselves at the castle wall, destroying it and losing a life in the process. If it had 1 life remaining, then it would expire against the walls and go into the box. And then of course, if a monster were to reach the wall and there is no wall there, then it'll go straight through and destroy a castle. But that's not all. If they succeed in destroying a tower, and they haven't yet died, the next time they have to move, that instead of going straight through, they'll go around counterclockwise, destroying towers as they go until they either die or remove the final tower. This is a catastrophe because there are only 2 or 3 cards in this whole deck that can actually hit monsters after they've entered the castle ring. So there's a lot of pressure here. Kill the monsters before they get to your wall. As an experience, Castle Panic provides entertainment that is immediately accessible. Not only is the art lathered over this board and these cards and these nice thick cardboard tiles, like oil on the supple body of a Roman gladiator, evocative and colorful. Not only is this board delicious to look at, and this resplendent die an excellent touch, but the experience on offer is transparently attention-grabbing. I don't have to memorize a Byzantine alphabet of different symbols to understand the options that I have available to me on my turn, or the board state. When a particularly burly monster emerges from this pile of tokens, that's something that the entire table can look at and gasp over. They understand that that's a bad thing, even if this is their first time playing Castle Panic, or their first time playing a board game. And this bunch of tiles here are magic, because they contain not only monsters, but special effects that will change the way the game goes. They will kill off certain soldiers that you might have in your hand. All of your swordsmen might just disappear. They will sometimes allow monsters to move an extra space closer to the castle. Or, and this one's my favorite, there are these giant boulders that will come crashing down one of the segments of the board, squishing all of the monsters and destroying a section of your castle. The moments that have come out of the giant boulder have been hilarious. There will come a time in every game where the circumstances look completely bleak. The odds are stacked against you, and the night is darker than ever, but you all look at each other and you say,
"We will live to see the dawn."
And you turn the tide of the battle, you destroy all of the monsters on the board in this insane chain of events, and you win. It feels so good. Although, we found that the game is a bit insubstantial. At the start of your turn, you draw up to your hand size, which is usually 5 cards, and then you play as many cards as you can, like I already explained. When you draw those 5 cards, those are the 5 potential solutions you have available to address the problems mushrooming across the board. And you may not draw something useful. Basically, if all of the orcs are in the knight ring and you have swordsmen and archers in your hand, you have nothing to do. The game tries to fix this by introducing a trade mechanic in which you can swap cards with other players. You can also discard a card at the start of your turn. You can trade 1 card if you're playing with 1 to 5 players, or 2 cards if you've got 6 players. Either way, it's not a lot of cards. More than that, if I trade a card with another player, I'm not giving myself a decision. I'm just giving myself another card. If there is a goblin in the blue swordsman ring and I trade for a blue swordsman from another player, I'll play the blue swordsman. Maybe I could choose to hit the goblin over the troll, but it comes down to fundamentally the same thing. If I discard a card and draw a card and I draw something usable, then of course I'll use it. There are moments where people will collaborate and they'll discuss the necessity of targeting one creature over another, but if you lay your hand on the table and you say, well, I've got a red knight, looks like I'm going to be hitting the orc in the red knight ring, no one at the table will dispute that, because there's nothing else you could do with the red knight card.
Once upon a time, a bunch of goblins lived in harmony. They shared one another's earwax and brought toenails to every party. Until one day, they went completely mad and decided to break every castle that was ever built.
Wait. Goblin, listen here. We use these swords to take life, but I believe there's much more they can do. Much more.
Ich bin ein kleiner Kobold, ich möchte Bögen brennen. Ich bin ein kleiner Kobold, ich will dein Haus brennen.
No, Goblin, no!
With Goblin 'tis folly to reason, they choose but violence in every season. The Book of Wizards, Volume 1. Let this be a warning to you, that unless you have some trouble to brew, talking to goblins is something you shouldn't do. Now that I've given you a clue, back to the castle. On with the review.
Basically, when you play this game, it will burp up problems for you to solve, but you have to just hope that the game will burp up a solution for you. And most of the time it does, and sometimes finding the solution will require a bit of perception, but in the moments where it doesn't, it just doesn't feel good. There is a variant included in the game box that makes the whole thing semi-cooperative, where if you kill a monster, you keep it, and it's worth points at the end of the game. So that incentivizes players to try and get killing blows on monsters. This was the original rule set for the game. By the way, this is a second edition, and I don't like it. The game provides the most value when it is functioning as a fully cooperative experience. If you are wanting it for yourself and your group of gamer friends, I would recommend looking into some of the expansions that are available. Each of the expansions are supposed to add a bit of complexity to the game and throw in some twists that will give you the sort of decision space that you'd really want. I can't recommend any of those expansions because I haven't played with any of them, but the Wizard Tower one looks pretty cool, so if you like wizards and you like panicking in your castle, you should check that one out. So it is flashy, it is fun. If you're looking for something to enjoy with your friends, family, or any young people that you have in your life that would love to make memories with you at your table, this is an excellent choice. All right, now that's the end of the review. I have got some trolls to go peep at. Have a great day.